Hey guys, how you doing? Been working on the studio. This will be the podcast spot. I still have to hook things up, but I'm making progress. What I want to talk about tonight is: are you a sheep or are you a black sheep? Meaning that, do you stand up for yourself and separate yourself from the pack, or do you follow everything that everybody says? And the idea that came to my mind was that people tend to follow their groups because they identify with their group, and that's part of their identity. Whether it's Democrats, Republicans, whether it's religions, plenty of different religions say be down with us or you're going to go to hell. Um, Democrats say follow everything that we say or you're going to be canceled. Republicans, they got their own thing too. It's everybody says be down with our group or you're done. And that's like a cult. It's like a cult. So, what I wanted to touch on is we need to make sure that we're standing up for ourselves and our own beliefs. For instance, I'm right of center. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm a die-hard Republican. No. I think when it comes to abortion, I believe in a woman's rights. I don't believe that there's anybody, if you take a community and say, okay, we're going to vote, right, on abortion or no abortion. And that's what it's coming down to. It's the states. That's not a problem. You guys, if you really look at it, if it's the states deciding, then it's the people that decide. But I don't think anybody should stand up and say, I think you need to do this. And that's what we got a whole lot. That's what's happening too much, is where people are trying to use their values and push them on other people. I do think when it comes to abortion, you should be responsible. Meaning, don't wait till late term, whatever. If you realize you're pregnant and you don't want to keep the child, take care of it. Be responsible, quick. It's like sperm is alive. It's alive, right? We see them swimming and everything. I murder sperm like a crazy mother. Most guys do, whether it's at night or whether it's watching, videos or something like that. We let a lot of that go, right? So nobody's punishing us for doing that. Like, hey, you're wasting it. You should be making babies, right? Nobody's telling us what to do, right? When it comes to a woman's body, I do believe she has a right to decide what she wants to do, but I think she should be responsible and decide early on, even before she's having sex that could expose her to becoming pregnant. She should have in her head, okay, I don't want to get pregnant right now, so maybe I'm on the pill. Maybe she's against that for religious purposes. That's fine. But have it made up in your mind what you want to do and be responsible with your decision after that. I want to make sure it wasn't on fire. Gun rights. I'm not right or left. I mean, I believe in everybody's right to own guns. And I have a conceal and carry. Doesn't mean I exercise it. But I think there should be background checks that do include mental capacity to operate on a civil level, meaning that you are not crazy. A lot of guys come out of the military and they have mental health issues and they don't report those, but they're in tune with guns. Most of them are responsible. Sometimes they use them against themselves, and that's something we can discuss in a later video. Nick Ron, what's up? I just think that the responsible people, the people that have their shit together, should be able to own a gun to protect themselves. And if they get a conceal and carry, they should be able to take it out of the house. I do think background checks can be more strict, and that's where I veer over to the left. They say that because of HIPAA, you can't check the mental background. Well, we can just make that a qualifier, saying, okay, you have to voluntarily open up your medical records, your HIPAA. You have to avoid the HIPAA so we can check you out, make sure that you're not bonkers, that you haven't had episodes where you're wearing a straitjacket for 3 years or, whatever, one flew over the cuckoo's nest, all that shit. We should be able to make sure that you're okay before just saying, here you go, here you have a permit to carry. I think a lot of the young kids that are shooting up schools or doing crazy shit, they're mental. And there's been, in most instances, a red flag. that wasn't caught, and criminals can get guns. We know that. And whether they're mental or not, or whether they have malintent to own those guns, they can get them. So why can't the general public get guns to protect themselves? Like I said, background checks should be thorough and it should void out the HIPAA. You can voluntarily say, look at my medical records to make sure that I'm not crazy bonkers. I just want to protect myself from my wife and kids. That should be the way it is. It's not just like a free pass for everybody to own guns. So what I'm saying here is trying to put myself right in the middle of two hot issues right now. That you don't have to be all the way here. You don't have to be all the way here. Right? You can be in the middle. Think for yourself. So don't be a sheep that you follow everything that your party or your group or your religion is telling you. Think for yourself. That's how we get around all this crap, because a lot of these groups, kind of cultish, right? Whether it's religion or politics, they tell you with emotion behind it how you should feel. And I had this idea to explain it with a family member, is that when you're looking at whoever's providing the information for you, do they ever say anything good about the opposition? Do they ever say anything bad about their bias? That's where you get the real news. And that's where breaking points, search breaking points on YouTube. It's very blended. Or I know a lot of people don't like Fox, but the Five, they always have a Democrat among Republicans to discuss these things. So you get both sides of the issues. Blended news media is the way to go, you guys, especially nowadays. There's like Tim Pool. A lot of outlets for information are blended or came from a Democrat and switched to the middle because they had so many times that they thought for themselves and they thought, wait a second, I don't agree with this issue. And I'm in the same place. It's like I don't agree with controlling a woman's body, but I do agree with being responsible about it. Same thing with the guns. I think you should have access to be able to conceal and carry as long as you pass the test and understand the laws and you prove yourself to be mentally functional. You have the cognition to be able to handle the responsibility, not just hand it out like, ding dongs or snack cakes at Costco, right? Oh, I missed a call. Oh, well. But the whole idea when I say be a sheep or be a black sheep, you guys. You got to stand up for what you believe in. And if your group that you follow, whether it's politics, whether it's religion, you have to be able to stand up for yourself and say, look, this is how I feel. I know it differs from everything that the whole group is saying, but I'm thinking this. And you might have more people in your group that stand up and say, yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. But if nobody speaks up, if nobody is thinking and having their own decision, they're just following like a sheep. What happens to sheep? Here comes the lion, whatever, the wolf to eat you guys up. Don't just be a follower. That's what I'm saying. You have to be able to follow what you think. You have to be able to think independently. Be a black sheep. That doesn't mean that your whole group was kicking you out. That just means you're being a leader and standing up and saying, hey, wait, hold on, you guys. But cancel culture gets in the middle of all that, where it's like the people that stand, and that's how you know if you're in a group that is, too controlling. Where if you stand up and speak your mind, they're like, shut up, sit down. That's horrible. You have to be able to speak your mind. And I like I said, I am leaning right of center, but I also agree with stuff that happens on the Democrat side. But I see both sides just adhering to what they are told by their news media or their party. Same thing with religion. Stand up for yourselves, guys. That's masculinity. If we look at tribalism, and that's what I'm talking about is tribalism, people stay with their tribe for protection. There's protection in numbers. But back in the day, the true masculine men loaded with testosterone would go out, search, hunt, do battle, take over communities. They had the balls to step up and go do what they wanted to do. So now we're just talking about think how you want to think and be able to express yourself, right? We should not let go of that and say, no, it's not okay that I say what I feel. True testosterone laden men back in the day, they used to part from the group and they'd leave, the women and the kids behind and a few men that protect the tribe. But the ones that ventured out are the black sheep, the ones that thought for themselves and say, hey, I need to search for something. I need to find something. I need to do something. I need to come back with some meat, or some riches. You got to get out and do it. And those are the people that drive society, right? So it simply starts with how you think. If you follow whatever news media you're listening to or whatever religion you're listening to, don't just take it as this is the way it is. Think for yourself. And I always said before, take in multiple news sources or explore multiple religions. I think I explored Muslim religion, Christian from the family, Catholic, Buddhism, and a lot of what they say. I don't think Buddhism does this, but a lot of what religion says is be down with us or perish in hell. Understand and believe or perish in hell. Now that's a control factor. And that's kind of what some of the politicians are doing. Get down with us or we're going to cancel you. Be an individual. That's the most important thing. Think for yourself. Think for yourself. Be an individual. I promise you, if 80% of the people, 75% of the people in America did that and they didn't just follow what they see on the news or what they're told to believe, or when something's presented to them with emotion behind it, they don't fall a victim to it because they think logically, not emotionally. The world would be a much better place. The problem is we have too much lack of logic when it comes to dealing with these social issues. And that's the whole point of the video is be a black sheep. Be a black sheep. Not saying that you're pushing your whole crew away or wherever you come from, what group you are in. You can identify with that. That can be part of your identity, your sole source of this is who I am. But you should never stop questioning and looking for outside information, because you just follow the information path that's provided to you. You're being molded. You are a sheep. Be a black sheep, you guys. Look for outside information and try to think critically about the issues that are presented to us as Americans, because society is taking a downturn. So the whole point is be a black sheep. Voluntarily question everything. Question everything and try to get as much information as you can before you speak on an issue. I know I don't do that as much as I should, especially now that I'm working. I don't sit around watching news all day. But the more information you have, the better you can speak on a subject and the better you can support your beliefs. If you just take one side and try to support your beliefs, you're just parroting information. That doesn't do anybody good. And you're not going to get challenged if you're hanging out with your group, So I'm hoping, look at this. Studio's looking nice. I lit some candles just for ambiance, It is what it is. Maybe I'll get some more hits because I'm looking romantic or some shit. But I have disagreements with romance too, because I'm a black sheep. Speak your mind, guys. That's the most important thing you can ever do. Express yourself. But if you're not loaded when you go to have a conversation, then you might fall flat if you can't support your beliefs. So that's what I'm saying. Explore contradictory information and find out what you think makes sense to you. Then you have your thoughts. You go think about it on the way to work. You're driving to work. You're like, well, wait a second. My group says this, but I'm kind of thinking, it doesn't make sense to me. There's no logic behind it, right? So best thing we can do is think for ourselves and be that black sheep instead of a regular sheep that just follows the pack and parrots everything that they're presented with, because it's sold to you tied to emotion to get you on board. If we look at history, I'm not going to keep going. I'm getting phone calls I'm missing anyways. Thank you guys for joining me. Lighting's bad. I'm just trying to get stuff set up. So we'll talk to you soon. Chill. Scott Rockford.